The episode opens exactly where the last one left off. The attic is a cold, forgotten space, thick with the dust of dormant memories. Isla Driscoll is a pale statue on the floor, the open diary of Ida Barlow a damning testament in her lap. The words she read have burned themselves into her mind, a promise of pure hatred. Her breath comes in shallow, ragged gasps. Every creak of the old house sounds like a footstep. Every distant siren, a warning. The history she just unearthed is not a story in a book, it is a living, breathing entity that sleeps under the same roof as her. Her father is not the ambitious businessman she knew, he is the custodian of a 60-year-old vendetta. Her phone buzzes violently against the wooden floorboards, making her jump. The screen illuminates her terrified face. It's a message from her father, Patrick. The words, so mundane, are now laced with a terrifying subtext. A family meeting. A council of war. Isla slowly closes the diary, her fingers trembling. She pushes it back to the bottom of the box, burying the truth under a pile of forgotten poetry, praying it stays buried. As she does, her eyes fall upon the window that looks out over the street, over the dark, silent rooftops of the Rovers' Return. It's no longer just a pub. It's a crime scene. It's a tombstone. The following morning, the Driscoll family is assembled around the antique dining table that once belonged to Ken Barlow. The contrast is jarring. The room, which for decades held gentle family meals and intellectual debates, is now a corporate boardroom. Morwenna presides over a silver coffee pot with icy precision. Finn is scrolling through his tablet, a predatory smile on his face. Patrick sits at the head of the table, a king surveying his newly conquered lands. Isla is a ghost at the table, pushing a piece of fruit around her plate, the food tasteless in her mouth. Right. The opening. The invitations go out today. Gilt-edged. Hand-delivered. A touch of class this street hasn't seen since the invention of the spinning jenny. I've finished the preliminary work. Identified the weak links in the chain. The corner shop's suppliers are vulnerable. The factory, Underworld, has a major textiles contract up for renewal. And the local taxi firm. A financial house of cards. A little push is all it'll take to have them begging for a bailout. Our bailout. Patrick nods, a flicker of pride in his eyes. Good. We don't just own the pub. We own the supply chain. We own the conversation. We squeeze until they have no choice but to come to us. Isla feels a wave of nausea. This isn't the cold, calculated destruction of a community, spoken of as casually as a grocery list. The question hangs in the air, heavy and dangerous. Finn stops scrolling. Morwenna's hand freezes on the coffee pot. Patrick's smile evaporates. He turns his gaze on his daughter, his eyes like chips of granite. Why go to all this trouble? It's just a pub. It's just a street. Why try to hurt these people? Patrick leans forward, his voice dropping to a low, intense whisper that is far more terrifying than a shout. This is not about hurting people, Isla. It's about correcting a historical imbalance. This street, this town, owes our family a debt. A debt of blood. And I am simply here to collect. Now, eat your breakfast out. The threat is implicit. You are with us, or you are against us. Isla looks at her mother for support, but Morwenna's face is a mask of stone. She is utterly, terrifyingly alone. The atmosphere in Roy's Rolls is a mixture of fear and defiance. The story of the smashed window has spread like wildfire. Jenny Connor, David Platt, Rita Tanner, and Carla Connor are huddled in a booth, their voices low. Right, I'll say it. It wasn't me. But whoever did it deserves a medal. It's the only language people like that understand. Violence isn't the answer. It's what they want. It gives them an excuse to play the victim. No. We have to be smarter. We have to be united. She's right. This isn't just some thugs moving in. That Finn character has been asking questions about local businesses. This is a corporate takeover by stealth. They'll try to undercut, outbid, and strangle every independent business on this street. It's happened before. We've seen off villains and gangsters and schemers. We do it by sticking together. An idea forms in Jenny's eyes, the old fire of the Rovers' landlady reignited. The grand reopening. That's his first big play. So we counter it. We don't go. Not a single one of us. We starve them of oxygen. An empty pub on opening night. That's a humiliation he can't buy his way out of. We organize a total street boycott. The group nods in agreement. The first seeds of a resistance are sown. Finn Driscoll, oozing calculated charm, steps out of number 1. He spots Daisy Midgley heading towards the corner shop. He intercepts her, his smile practiced and dazzling. Daisy, isn't it? Finn Driscoll. I hope our arrival hasn't caused too much of a stir. You could say that. Smashing windows tends to get people talking. A bit of local passion. I admire it. Look, I'll be direct. I've seen how you work. You have ambition. Style. My father is Traditional. He wants to turn the Rovers into some stuffy gentleman's club. I see something different. A high-end cocktail bar, influencers, a real social media presence. I need someone who gets that. I need a promotions manager. Someone to be the face of the new Rovers. He lets the offer hang in the air. Daisy, despite her loyalty to Jenny, is visibly intrigued. The offer appeals directly to her vanity and her ambition. As they talk, Daniel Osborne watches from the window of his flat, his face a mask of suspicion and jealousy. He sees the wolf circling. Carla is in her office, her brow furrowed in concentration as she stares at her computer screen. She's on the phone with her main fabric supplier. "What do you mean you can't fulfill the order? We've had a contract for 5 years, Frank. A better offer? Who?" The silence on the other end of the line speaks volumes. "I see. And this new consortium? They wouldn't happen to be called Driscoll Holdings, would they?" The confirmation is a gut punch. It's started. Finn wasn't just asking questions, he was gathering intelligence for an attack. The Driscolls are not just aiming for the pub, they are aiming for the economic heart of the entire street. The battle for hearts and minds continues. More when a Driscoll enters Audrey's salon. The chatter immediately dies. She surveys the room with an air of theatrical disappointment. "I'd like a wash and blow dry, please." Audrey Roberts, never one to be intimidated, steps forward. "Certainly. Take a seat. David, put the kettle on for Mrs. Driscoll." Morwenna begins a subtle, poisonous campaign. To Audrey, but loud enough for everyone to hear. "My husband is so excited. He wants to pour money into the street. Improve the property values. Bring in a better class of business. It's a shame there's so much resistance to progress." She is framing their hostile takeover as a benevolent act of charity, and the residents' defiance as ignorance. It's a calculated move to divide opinion and create doubt. Isla enters the cafe, her shoulders hunched, looking for all the world like a frightened mouse. She finds Roy Cropper meticulously cataloging a new delivery of tea cakes. "Mr. Cropper. You said you might look into the history of the pub for me." "Indeed. I consulted the Weatherfield Gazette archives. There was a small fire at the Rovers' return in early November 1965. Isla holds her breath. It was officially recorded as an electrical fault. No foul play was suspected. However, he pauses, adjusting his glasses. "I found the original police blotter for that week. It mentions an anonymous phone call alleging that the fire was a deliberate act of intimidation, linked to a dispute over the sale of the premises. The officer on duty dismissed it as a malicious rumor, as the family who had been attempting the purchase had, quote, left town under a cloud." The follow-up was never completed. Isla feels a chill that has nothing to do with the autumn weather. An anonymous call. A family leaving under a cloud. The official story is a lie. Ida Barlow's diary was the truth. Her family didn't just leave. They were arsonists who were run out of town. Did it mention a name? No. The report is heavily redacted. The name of the accused family has been blacked out. A formality for an unsubstantiated claim from that era. "I'm sorry I couldn't be of more help." But he has been of more help than he could ever know. He has confirmed her deepest fear. It's twilight. A sleek van pulls up outside the Rovers. Two men get out and begin erecting a huge new sign over the door, covering the iconic Rovers Return Inn. As they work, a crowd of residents gathers, watching in horrified silence. The cover is pulled away to reveal the new sign, written in an offensively modern, gold font. It's an act of cultural vandalism. Patrick Driscoll steps out of the pub to admire his handiwork, a triumphant smirk on his face. He looks directly at Jenny, who is standing at the front of the crowd, her face a picture of heartbreak and fury. This is his checkmate. Isla, armed with Roy's information, finally confronts her father. She finds him in the living room, pouring 2 glasses of expensive whiskey. He offers one to her. She ignores it. "The fire in 1965. It wasn't an accident, was it?" Patrick's hand freezes. He slowly sets the bottle down. The friendly facade vanishes, replaced by something cold and hard. "You've been digging. They ran you out of town. You set fire to the pub because Jack Walker wouldn't sell it to Granddad. That's the debt of blood, isn't it? It's not about what they owe us. It's about what we did to them." Patrick walks over to the fireplace. He stares into the empty grate. "Your grandfather was a weak man. A dreamer. He wanted to buy this pub, make a life here. He was humiliated. Beaten in the alley behind this very pub by Annie Walker's thugs because he dared to want something above his station. They laughed at him. So yes, he set a fire. A small one. A warning. And for that, they hounded us out of the city. We lost everything. I grew up with nothing but the taste of that shame in my mouth." He turns to face her, his eyes burning with a righteous fury. "They started a war, Isla. I'm just here to finish it." The night of the grand reopening of the Queen's Gambit. The scene cuts between two locations. It is a soulless, high-end bar. Chrome and black leather have replaced the warm wood and brass. The lights are low, the music is loud and generic. Bouncers stand at the door. It is almost completely empty. Patrick, Morwenna, and Finn stand inside, their faces growing tighter as the minutes tick by. The boycott is working. The humiliation is palpable. Across the street, the hall is packed. The residents have staged their own Real Rovers night. Someone has brought a karaoke machine. The tables are laden with food. There is laughter, music, and a powerful sense of community and defiance. Jenny is behind a makeshift bar, pulling pints for her friends, a triumphant smile on her face. They are winning. But then, Finn gets a text message. He smiles, a slow, cruel smile. He shows it to his father. Patrick reads it, and his thunderous expression transforms into one of victorious glee. The doors to the community hall burst open. 2 police officers walk in. They are followed by a man in a suit from the council. "We've had a report of an unlicensed event selling alcohol and playing loud music without the correct permits. I'm afraid we're going to have to shut you down." Stunned silence falls over the hall. Jenny and the others are dumbfounded. From the doorway of his empty, silent pub across the street, Patrick Driscoll watches, raising his glass in a mock toast to their defeat. The camera pushes in on Isla's face. She is standing beside her father, forced to watch the scene unfold. She wasn't just a witness to history. She is now a collaborator in its ugliest chapter. The look in her eyes is one of utter self-loathing and despair. She sees the hopeful, defiant faces in the hall turn to ash, and she knows, with sickening certainty, that this is only the beginning. The scene opens on the immediate, bitter aftermath. The flashing blue lights of the police car cast long, dancing shadows down the cobbled street, painting the residents' faces in strokes of defeat. They are spilling out of the community hall, not in a triumphant crowd, but in small, angry, dejected clusters. The sound of their aborted party is replaced by the murmur of recriminations and the cold, official tones of the police shutting the doors. Across the street, the Queen's Gambit is an island of smug silence. Through the large, clear window, the residents can see Patrick Driscoll, a dark silhouette against the soullessly bright interior. He slowly raises his whiskey glass, the light catching the crystal, and takes a long, deliberate sip. It's a gesture of utter contempt. He is toasting their failure. Jenny Connor stands frozen on the pavement, her face a mask of disbelief and rage. Carla watches Patrick, her eyes narrowed, already calculating, processing the tactical loss. David Platt has to be physically restrained by Shona from shouting across the street. The camera pans from the defeated residents to the victorious family. Inside the empty pub, Morwenna allows herself a small, cruel smile. Finn is already on his phone, his expression that of a predator who has just tasted first blood. Only Isla, standing slightly behind her father, looks horrified. She isn't looking at the residents, she's looking at her family, as if seeing them for the first time for the monsters they truly are. Patrick turns from the window, his back to the street, and addresses his family, his voice calm and lethal. A united front is easy to break. You just have to find the cracks. Then you fill them with poison. The next morning, the street is shrouded in a tense, oppressive silence. The usual friendly waves and morning greetings are gone, replaced by suspicious glances and hushed conversations. Roy's Rolls is the unofficial headquarters for the shell-shocked resistance. Jenny sits numbly in a booth, staring into a cup of tea she hasn't touched. Carla, ever the pragmatist, is pacing. We were fools. We tried to fight a back-alley brawl, and he brought a solicitor. He used the letter of the law to crush the spirit of it. We underestimated him. I told you. Flash and no substance was the wrong assessment. It's flash with substance. The most dangerous kind. It was my idea. I led them all to a public humiliation. He made us look like idiots. No, Jenny. He declared war. Now we know what kind of war it is. We don't fight with parties and boycotts anymore. We fight with information. We dig into every corner of his life, his businesses, his past. We find his technicality. We find his poison. The resolve is heartening. The initial shock is giving way to a cold, determined anger. The Driscoll breakfast meeting is a victory celebration. Patrick is expansive, triumphant. Phase 1, complete. We've shown them that their little community spirit is no match for strategic thinking. But an empty pub is a symbol, not a business. We need to break the boycott. Finn. Already on it. A community is a body. You don't have to kill the whole thing. You just have to infect a single cell and let the sickness spread. We need to turn one of them. We need to find the most ambitious, the most resentful, the one who secretly thinks they're better than the rest. His eyes gleam. He already has his target in mind. Morwenna scoffs. She's a caged lioness who thinks she's a kitten. She craves the spotlight, but she's living in her stepmother's shadow. She wants money, influence. Everyone has a price, mother. You just have to find out what currency they trade in. Hers is vanity. Patrick nods slowly, a predatory gleam in his eye. Make her an offer she can't refuse. And make it public. Isla, pale and withdrawn, leaves number 1 under the pretext of getting a newspaper. She can feel the hostile stares of the residents. Her journey to the cabin feels like walking a gauntlet. Inside, Rita is behind the counter. The atmosphere is frosty. A copy of the Gazette, please. As Rita gives her the paper, Isla accidentally knocks over a display of mints. As they both bend to pick them up, Isla slips a small, folded note onto the counter, hiding it beneath a magazine. Her hand is shaking violently. She pays for the paper and scurries out without another word. Rita, frowning, sees the note. She picks it up and unfolds it. The message is written in shaky. Rita stares at the note, a chill running down her spine. It's a warning from inside the enemy camp. The note is the talk of the street's inner circle. Rita has shown it to Jenny and Carla. They are gathered in the streetcar's office with Steve and Tim, the unofficial nerve center of local gossip. The one who wants more. That could be anyone. It's got to be a wind-up. One of them trying to stir the pot. No. It feels real. It's a warning. They're going to try and poach someone, break the boycott from the inside. We need to be on our guard. The paranoia begins to set in. They look at each other, a seed of doubt planted. Who among them is the weakest link? Finn finds Daisy at her day job, a deliberate move to catch her off guard, away from the prying eyes of the street. He is charm personified. I was impressed last night. That boycott took guts. Real community spirit. What do you want? I want to offer you a way out. A way up. You don't belong here, reading pamphlets and making tea. You're a star. My offer to be promotions manager still stands. But I'm upping the stakes. He slides a business card across the table. That's not just a job title. It's a partnership. A 20% stake in the pub's profits. Your own budget. Your own team. Total creative control to make the Queen's Gambit the hottest venue in Manchester. We'll make you famous, Daisy. The offer is staggering, far beyond anything she could have imagined. It's a direct shot at her deepest desires, money, power, and recognition. I can't. Jenny. The street. Loyalty is a chain that keeps you tethered to mediocrity. They're sinking, Daisy. Do you want to go down with the ship, or do you want to be the one sailing the yacht? The choice is yours. Think about it. He leaves. Daisy is left staring at the business card as if it's a winning lottery ticket and a lit stick of dynamite all at once. Daisy is trying to talk to Daniel about the offer, but she can't bring herself to be direct. Hypothetically, if someone offered you a massive opportunity, a life-changing one, but it meant going against what everyone else wanted, what would you do? Daniel, ever the moralist, doesn't hesitate. Principles are more important than opportunities. You can't build a future on a foundation of betrayal, Daisy. It's what sets us apart from people like the Driscolls. His answer is well-intentioned, but to Daisy, it sounds like a lecture. It feels like he's belittling her ambition, confirming her fear that he will always see her as the flighty barmaid and not the savvy businesswoman she longs to be. The conversation, instead of helping, pushes her further away, making Finn's offer seem like the only one that truly values her potential. Isla is in her room, trying to read, but her mind is racing. She hears her father and Finn returning, their voices loud and confident from the hallway. The hook is in the water. She's going to bite. Good. When she does, we make a show of it. I want the whole street to see their chosen daughter turn her back on them. I want to break their hearts. Isla closes her eyes, a wave of sickness washing over her. She created a ripple with her warning note, but her family is about to unleash a tidal wave. 2 days later, the boycott has held firm. The Queen's Gambit remains stubbornly empty. A fragile sense of hope is returning to the residents. They've weathered the first storm. Jenny and Rita are outside the cabin, talking. Maybe that's it. Maybe they'll realize they can own the building, but they can't own the people. Don't count your chickens, love. A snake doesn't give up. It just sheds its skin. At that moment, Daisy Midgley walks out of the Rover's return flat. She is not in her usual clothes. She is wearing a sharp, expensive-looking power suit. Her hair and makeup are immaculate. She looks like a different person. She doesn't look at Jenny or Rita. Her eyes are fixed forward. With a determined, almost defiant stride, she begins to walk across the cobbles. A slow-motion sequence begins, underscored by tense, dramatic music. Daniel watches from the window of his flat, a look of horrified realization dawning on his face. He knows exactly where she is going. Carla and Peter, walking out of their flat, stop dead in their tracks, watching her. In Roy's roles, Nina, Shona, and David see her through the window. David shakes his head in disbelief. Steve and Tim stop polishing a cab at streetcars, their jaws dropping. The entire street has become a silent theater, And Daisy is the star of the show. She reaches the other side of the street. She pauses at the door of the Queen's Gambit, her back to her friends, her neighbors, her family. For a heart-stopping moment, it seems she might turn back. Then, she takes a deep breath, squares her shoulders, and pushes the door open. Patrick and Finn are sitting at the bar, waiting. They look up as Daisy enters. She walks towards them, the sound of her heels clicking loudly in the cavernous, empty pub. She stops in front of them, a mixture of fear and exhilaration in her eyes. "Miss Midgley. I was beginning to think you weren't coming." Her voice is stronger than she expects. "You made me an offer. I'm here to accept." Patrick's lips curl into a slow, triumphant smile. He extends a hand. "Welcome to the winning team." The camera is outside the pub, looking in through the window. We see Daisy shaking Patrick's hand, sealing the deal. In the reflection on the glass, we see the horrified, betrayed face of Jenny Connor.